Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your brother Sechilwani representing Aribu with Sechilwani. So today we're going to be talking about something very deep. We'll be talking about tips and advices regarding financial freedom. I hope you guys learn a lot from this, and if you find it very productive and educative, please share it with other people. Okay, so I have our brother here, Gift James Timkulu. This guy, he's like, he's such an inspire. He inspired me a lot. You probably don't know this. There's a lot to inspire me about it. And if I were to introduce him from how he inspired me and all that, it would probably need another session for just his introduction. Okay, so can you just introduce yourself, brother?
Yes, thank you very much, man. And greetings to also our viewers. My name is Gift James Timkulu. I'm an author, a speaker, and an NLP coach. Professionally, I work as a financial advisor. So yeah, that is me.
Yeah, with the perfect somebody. He's a financial advisor. So first thing that we'll be talking about saving.
Yeah.
The importance of saving and saving in general. Okay, so here we start, my guy. Can you please explain to us about the term saving?
Okay. The term saving is basically putting aside money or rather resources for a future time where you might need them the most. So it's basically an act whereby you are putting aside a portion of your income in order to be able to redeem it in the future for an emergency or whatever that you might need.
Okay. You know, I hear a lot of people talk about, I don't have enough funds to save, I don't earn enough salary to save and all that.
Yeah.
So, from what you think, who can save money?
I think anyone who has an income can save, right? And by saving, the thing is, when people think about saving, they think about saving a lot of money. They think if I'm saving maybe like 2,000 rands a month, then I'm saving, or 1,000 rand a month, then I'm saving. But actually saving, you can save even if it's like 100 rands or 10 rands or 50 rands. But the question is, it is the idea, the culture of saving itself. So it has no minimum amounts to say that you can save so much. So anyone who has an income can be able to save, right? So I don't believe that everyone can save. Obviously, people who do not have an income cannot save anything because they don't have anything at all. But people who have an income can save. That would be my answer. Anyone
Can the low income earners be able to save money?
Yes, they can, definitely. You see, saving has nothing to do with having high income or having low income. It's about the willingness to save. So even if you're earning little money or less income, or you're a low income earner, you can still save. As I said, it's all about your savings goals. There's something that we call savings goals. Whereby, let's say your goal is to buy a TV.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And you have little income, and you have to save from that income that you are getting. So you have to be realistic in your savings to say that my goal requires me to have 5,000 rands, right? And based on my income, I can only save 200 rands. So which means that now you align that with your goal, and you can save. So low income earners, they can save as long as they have the patience to wait a bit longer to achieve that goal. So without patience, obviously, they cannot, but you just have to be patient more. But everyone can save.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So, I've once heard this saying, it says, money only speaks one language. Yeah. Save me today, I'll save you tomorrow. I think that's fantastic.
That's true.
And some people, they prefer saving with banks. Some they prefer saving on their own, meaning saving money under their beds, using piggy boxes to save money or whatever, because there's no any charges or fees. You understand? Yeah. So regarding what I just said now, which way do you think is actually better way to save? Saving on your own and saving with the banks?
It depends also on your goals. The reason why we save with banks It is because also the savings account are interest bearing, so which means that you also earn interest on your savings, right? So it's safer. It gives you more options. For example, if you want to fix your savings account, whereby you cannot access it for a certain period, that also gives you the option. But if you are saving in your piggy bank or under your mattress or wherever that you want to save personally on your own, you can access that money anytime, and definitely does not have interest. So you actually putting yourself at risk of spending that money.
Yeah.
So personally, I'd prefer to save with a financial institution that I'll trust, because I want also my money to grow. And it doesn't grow only by me piling it, but it grows by it multiplying on its own and earning interest. So it's very important to have such facilities and institutions whereby we put our money and we save our money so that our money grows. It's safer as well. Because for example, if you put your money in your house and somebody breaks into your house.
Yeah.
So there are many other risks. It can be fire or anything like that.
Yeah.
Then you lose your money. So it's better to actually put it in a bank where it's insured and it's safe.
Yeah. Fantastic. As much as saving is important, would you advise somebody to save enough funds until they can afford to buy whatever product they want to purchase, or rather to take loan and purchase right away?
It's always important. I think it's better to save. Also, it depends. The question of credit versus cash. Because if you're saying you're saving for something to buy, it's because you want to buy that thing cash. And if perhaps you want to get a credit so that you can buy something. This is my philosophy. If you have to borrow money to buy something, then it simply means you do not afford it.
Yeah.
You do not afford it.
Yeah.
So it's very important to have the ability to be patient and save until you are able to afford something. There are some things that, yes, you can take credit for, especially like big assets, like your car or your house or anything like that. You can be able to take credit for that. But small things like gadgets, clothes, and the like, is not really necessary that you should take credit for, right? So that's why it's important to have a savings. If you have savings plan or the savings account that you have your own, let's say maybe a small emergency like that appears. Let's say maybe your shoes get lost or anything like that, you need to replace them, or your phone. You already have funds that you have saved that you can always go back to in order. So the philosophy actually, or the saying is very true, that the money you save today will save you tomorrow. It's very true, because it's basically waiting for an emergency like that. You can't lose your phone, your camera can break, or anything like that. You need
anything
to
happens.
So you cannot always go back to taking more credit and more credit and more credit. It's important to have
otherwise
money
you're digging yourself deeper.
Exactly. So have money aside for things like that.
That is so important. Okay, we're moving forward to the next subject. The first one was based on saving. Okay, so now we're moving to loans. So how much important do you think loans are?
They're important. It depends, really. As I mentioned, I think it's all about the reason behind.
Okay.
Why are you taking credit? Credit is something that has been around for the longest of times, and companies take loans, take credit. There's businesses that take credit, even governments. Right? Our government currently in South Africa has trillions of rands in credit. Right? So it's a culture that is commonly acceptable for individuals, for companies, for institutions, for governments. People do take loans. There's nothing wrong with taking loans, right? But I think
there must be a very valid reason behind it.
The reason justifies the means. If, for example, you cannot take a loan, I personally wouldn't advise anyone to take a loan for entertainment. Number one. Or for anything like that, right? Or for small needs. It's very important to take a credit for something that is important, right? And then you'll be able to actually take that loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do you think qualifies for loans?
People who qualify for loan, based on my banking experience,
The flash is flashing.
yeah, people who qualify for loans, there's a criteria that they look at. It's a criteria that they look at, obviously your credit score and all of that. So people who have a good credit score, they actually qualify for loans.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
People who have a credit score, they qualify for loans. And people who don't have a good credit score, they don't qualify. So you need to have a stable income. You need to have a good credit record, then you will qualify for a loan. Right? You might qualify for a loan. But usually if you do not have a stable income or perhaps an asset that you can put down for that loan, then you might not qualify for a loan.
No, okay. So people mostly, I hear a lot of people talk about there's good loans and bad loans. And I wonder, what are good loans and what are bad loans?
No, actually, the term that we use is credit. So there's good credit and there's bad credit. Bad credit is taking, I made an example, taking a credit just to party, to buy an asset that you don't even need or anything like that, entertainment or whatever. So that is bad credit.
Okay.
Right? Because it does not improve.
Could it be more of like taking credit for something that don't bring you back anything?
Exactly. So it does not improve your life and it does not improve your means. So usually, like for example, I mentioned companies and governments, people that they'll take loans so they can invest into an asset or into something that's going to bring more money in future. For example, if you're taking credit for a house or a business or something that will generate income and therefore improve your standard of living in future, then that is good credit. Right? But taking credit because we have people who take credit to pay off other credits and whatnot, and that is it's a vicious cycle.
Because you're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. Exactly. So that is also an example of a bad credit.
Awesome. So is it good idea to loan money from someone rather than from a bank?
You see, the problem with the loaning, obviously people have good relationships and it also depends on the amount of money. You can loan someone from money as long as there's a proper, I always believe that people should, especially if you give someone a significant amount of money, then there should be a written agreement to say that I gave this person 10,000 rands and they're going to pay it back on this date or not later than this date. So that you can be able to claim back the money legally. Should the person fail to pay you back. So you know that if we have a written agreement to say that David, I'm giving you 10,000 rands and I want it back in 3 months. Right? So, but we're not going to talk about if it's small amount like 100 rands, whatever. You might as well be giving them. So that we're not talking about that. But if you're looking for a credit, it's better to go to a financial institution. It's always better as well, because sometimes one thing, the issue of borrowing money from your friends and relatives sometimes also ruins relationships.
Yes, it does.
So finances have a negative impact on relationships, because sometimes you find that the other person is unable to pay, then it leads to bad relationships. So it's better with an institution.
Probably most people have been through that road.
A lot of people have been through that, whereby you borrowed money from someone and you cannot pay it back, or you borrowed money to someone that cannot pay it back, and you are related to this person, or you're friends, or you're working together, or you're in a relationship even, right? And it becomes a problem now because you can no longer see eye to eye. We've always seen cases like that. So it's important to, if you can, rather go to a financial institution.
I hope you're learning something from that, okay? So, a few years back, I needed a loan for some reasons. And they told me my credit score is too low. So when we talk about credit score, why is it so much important? Why is credit score so much important?
Credit score is important because it allows you to qualify for credit, number one. A lot of people don't understand how credit score works. Right?
I'm also one of those people. I just started educating myself about credit score not so long back.
Credit score, it's all about credit behavior.
Okay.
Let's say, For example, if you go to company A and you take up an account with them, right? And it's a small account, and then you pay your account, you finish it. Then that company will score you, right? There's a way of scoring you. They score you as a bad debtor or a good debtor or a non-payer or a bad payer. So there are many statuses that they use. Right? Yeah. So they will score you. Then you go to company B. Company B is now going to refer to your credit record. We call the credit record. To say, okay, this person has actually had credit before, but he's a good payer. So we can give him credit. Then we have credit with company B. Right? Now your credit company B, and credit B, based on the way that you pay your account, they're also going to score you. To say, actually, there's a body that governs that process. It can be Experian. In South Africa, we have Experian. We have all these different bodies that actually govern the scores and all of that. So company B would also score you. Then, but let's say now you take a third credit with company C, then you fail to pay. Then company C will also downscore you, like to say that, okay, this person is a bad payer. Right? Regardless if you're a good payer before, but they'll score you. Then your score with company C will therefore affect your score with company A. B. So that's how it works. And so it's very important. It allows you to afford credit. It shows that it's more like your reference. To say that I've had credit before, I'm good at paying credit. That's why I find that if you have low credit score, you improve it and you pay your company as well. In future, you will be able to buy bigger assets like a house, a car, or business loan, or anything like that.
Yeah, you heard that it's so very much important to build yourself a good credit score. More in case if in your future you're gonna be needing to buy more bigger stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Even like just taking a credit for whatever reason that you have, okay? We thank you for being with us till this far. I hope you're learning a lot, and this information is such an investment to you, okay? We believe in personal growth, education in general, okay? So yeah, we hope you're taking something, you're sucking something, you're investing yourself with this such information, and don't just take it, put it to work. Okay, so we're moving forward to the third subject, of which we'll be talking about investments. A lot of people like the word investment, to even anybody, if they call you an investor, it's sort of like give yourself a certain standard, you know what I'm saying? It makes you feel important. Even anybody who's investing money or investments are such a beautiful thing, and like regardless of what you're investing, it could be information, it could be finance, it could be assets, it could be education, it could be whatever. Investment is such a broad, but right now we'll be talking about investment in brackets finance. So I feel like most often we confuse investments and saving. Lot of us, even myself, I've been in a situation where I'm confusing investment and a saving. Could you probably break these two apart for us, please?
Well, I think, as we have mentioned, that savings is basically putting money aside. To put it simple, is to put money aside, right? For in case you might need it in future.
Yes.
But investment is actually putting money into something that will grow in future. So investment is more growth focused. So you want it to grow, so you can invest in property or something like that, because you know that the value of the property will grow. And you'll be able to sell it at a higher price in future, or rent it or whatever. That is an investment. You can be investing in shares, to say that I'm investing in maybe, let's say, in a company A's shares, and because I believe that the company A is doing very well, and years from now their share price will be higher. So therefore, if their share price is higher, which means the value of my share capital would be high as well, and I'll make money from that if I decide to sell those shares.
Yes.
So whatever that you invest in, whether it's bonds, whether it's property, whether it's shares, whatever, but investment is growth focused.
Okay.
And savings is basically putting money aside.
Okay.
But investment is putting money into something that will grow.
Something that will grow, right? Awesome. Okay. Are investments in general safe?
Not all investments. Investments have a risk attached to them.
Okay.
There is an element of risk, unlike savings. Savings don't have risk. But investment have risk. For example, if you...
But like you said, not all of them, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but generally all investments have risk, but some have higher risk than others.
the others,
Yeah.
okay.
So for
Okay.
example, you can, let's say you buy a house in a
Yes.
certain suburb.
Yes.
And because it's a good suburb, you believe that, okay, 10 years from now or 5 years from now,
The value.
the value of the property in that neighborhood will be high. But let's say, what if a group of squatter camps come
Yeah.
into that neighborhood,
Yeah.
or maybe let's say the government stops repairing the roads and whatever, then the value of the property will go down
It's
instead.
unforeseen.
So if you
Unforeseen.
decide to share, or the crime, let's say crime spikes up suddenly, and then the value of the property will go down.
Go down, yeah.
So
for sure.
instead of selling it at a high price, you might end up selling it at a lower
At
price
lower
if you
price.
decide to sell.
Yeah.
So there is a risk in investment. Whether it's you're investing in shares or whatever that you're investing in, there is an element of risk that you need to accept, to say that if things go well, I'm going to make money in this. But if things don't go well, if something happens that may affect my share or my investment, then it might go down. So that's how investment works.
Okay. So what are the best investments you know?
I believe property is.
Property is, right?
Property too. There are many good investments. Some people invest in the foreign markets. Some invest in the JSE. Some invest in but the best so far that I have identified is property, because property in itself is not a depreciating asset. So it's something that you can hold for longer. Right, and you have many options of what to do with it. You can sell, you can rent, you can do many other things with it. So it offers you not only long-term possibilities, but also options. Right?
Okay.
So yeah, you can also use your property to also get credit. Right. So that's why property, it might be a better option.
Thank you for that, brother. So, most of us believe investments are for those with higher incomes.
Yeah.
Do you think that is true?
Investments are all about affordability. You can invest as little as R1 these days. I mean, if you can look at Bitcoin, for example, people who bought Bitcoin when it was few dollars 10 years ago. Now it's if they are holding those investments right now, they are millionaires.
Yeah.
So it's not really about how much you can invest. You can invest in something that is also small, but because of its potential, it can grow rapidly.
Straight up.
Yeah, so that it ends up becoming, or rather growing to a point whereby it gives you a lot of money back. So it's not really for people who have a lot of money. It's for people who have a strategy, people who have a plan, and people who are able to identify opportunities.
Yes. Even from the JSE, I realized that you can invest from as little as 100 rand.
That's what I'm saying. It's not for the rich. It's for people who have information. So people must just get information how to invest and what to invest in.
Yeah. Okay, probably one of them good days will go deeper into how to invest and what kind of investment would you go to, and more of like just educating you into investments.
Exactly.